Have you ever heard of a woman so fierce, so unyielding that even the strongest men trembled in her presence? This is no myth or legend. It is the tale of a warrior named Amara, whose name echoed through every corner of her village and beyond. In a land where strength was measured in combat and respect was earned by fists, Amara stood alone. But how did she, a woman in a time of rigid traditions, rise to face and defeat every man in her village? Let me take you to a time and place where bravery knew no bounds and survival demanded more than just strength. It demanded cunning, willpower, and a heart fueled by unbreakable resolve. Our story unfolds in a remote African village surrounded by dense forests and rugged hills. This village, Mbala, was known for its warriors, men trained from childhood to fight, hunt, and protect their land. Tradition dictated that only men could hold the title of Defender of Mbala, a role revered above all else. But Amara, a young woman with a fiery spirit, dared to defy the rules. Amara had grown up watching her brothers train under the village elder's watchful eye. While others saw her as just another girl destined for domestic duties, she saw herself as equal, if not superior, to any warrior. Her father, a respected fighter, often dismissed her ambitions, but her mother secretly encouraged her, whispering tales of strong women who had shaped their history. Amara's defiance began in small ways. She mimicked her brother's training routines, practicing in secret with makeshift weapons crafted from sticks and stones. When she wasn't helping her mother with chores, she would disappear into the forest, testing her speed, agility, and endurance. The forest became her sanctuary, a place where she could dream of a life beyond societal constraints. One fateful day, the village elder announced a grand tournament to select the new defender of Mbala. Every eligible man prepared for the event, sharpening their weapons and honing their skills. Amara, defying tradition, declared her intention to compete. The villagers erupted in disbelief, and her father warned her against dishonoring their family. But Amara was resolute. The night before the tournament, Amara visited the sacred grove, a place believed to be inhabited by the spirits of ancestors. Under the light of the full moon, she knelt, her heart pounding. She prayed not for victory, but for courage to face the challenges ahead. A sudden gust of wind rustled the trees, and for a moment, she felt an inexplicable strength course through her veins. "You will not fail," a voice seemed to whisper. As she left the grove, she encountered the village elder. His piercing gaze seemed to read her soul. "You walk a dangerous path, Amara," he said. "The spirits favor the brave, but they do not tolerate arrogance. Remember this." As dawn broke, the village gathered around the large clearing that served as the arena. The elder called out the rules. Each contestant would face a series of opponents, and the last one standing would claim the title. When Amara stepped into the arena, gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some laughed, others sneered, but a few, including the elder, watched with quiet curiosity. Her first opponent was a towering man known as Kofi the Hammer, named for his immense strength. As the match began, Kofi charged, expecting an easy win, but Amara was quick and strategic, dodging his blows and using his momentum against him. With a swift strike, she knocked him to the ground, leaving the crowd stunned. One by one, Amara faced the village's best warriors. Her speed, agility, and sharp mind made her a formidable opponent. She anticipated their moves, adapting her strategy with each fight. As the day wore on, the jeers turned to cheers. By the final round, the crowd chanted her name. Amara's victories were not just physical, they were symbolic. Each triumph challenged the deeply ingrained beliefs of her community. Her opponents, once dismissive, began to respect her, recognizing her skill and determination. For Amara, each battle was a step closer to proving that worth was not determined by gender, but by capability. Her final opponent was none other than her own brother, Kamau, a seasoned warrior, and the favorite to win. The tension was palpable as the two siblings faced each other. Kamau's strikes were powerful and relentless, but Amara's resilience and cunning shone through. She found an opening and disarmed him, ending the match with a move so swift it left everyone speechless. As Kamau lay on the ground, he looked up at his sister with a mixture of awe and pride. "You've earned this, Amara," he said softly. The crowd erupted in applause, their initial skepticism replaced by admiration. When the elder stepped forward to declare her the winner, a heavy silence fell over the arena. "Tradition binds us," he said, "but so does honor. Amara has proven herself worthy of the title Defender of Mbala." The crowd erupted in applause, their initial skepticism replaced by admiration. From that day forward, Amara not only defended her village, but also inspired others to challenge outdated norms. Her story spread far beyond Mbala, becoming a symbol of courage, equality, and the unyielding power of determination. Her journey did not end with the tournament. As Defender of Mbala, Amara led expeditions into the surrounding forests, to fend off threats and secure resources for her people. She mentored young girls, teaching them the skills she had honed in secret, and fostered a generation of warriors who believed in their own potential, regardless of societal expectations. Under Amara's leadership, the village entered a golden age of unity and prosperity. Her ability to think strategically and her unwavering commitment to fairness brought an end to old rivalries. The men who had once doubted her now stood shoulder to shoulder with her, fighting for the common good. Amara's courage was infectious. Even neighboring villages took notice and began sending emissaries to learn from her wisdom. Amara's influence extended beyond the battlefield. She introduced new methods of farming and water management, ensuring that the village could thrive even during droughts. Her initiatives to involve women in decision-making transformed the social fabric of Mbala, creating a more inclusive and harmonious community. Despite her many accomplishments, Amara's journey was not without challenges. One day, a messenger arrived with news of an impending threat. A neighboring warlord, jealous of Mbala's rising power, had declared his intention to invade. The warlord, known as Django the Ruthless, was infamous for his brutality and unmatched combat skills. Amara knew that a direct confrontation could cost many lives. She devised a plan to challenge Django to a one-on-one duel, a custom respected across the land. If she won, the warlord would retreat and never threaten Mbala again. If she lost, the village would surrender. The duel took place at dawn, in a clearing surrounded by warriors from both sides. Django towered over Amara, his muscles rippling with anticipation. The crowd held its breath as the two circled each other. Django struck first, his blade slicing through the air with deadly precision. Amara dodged, her movements fluid and calculated. The fight was a dance of skill and strategy, each combatant pushing the other to their limits. In a moment of sheer brilliance, Amara feigned a misstep, luring Django into a trap. As he lunged, she disarmed him with a swift and unexpected maneuver. Standing over him, her blade poised, she declared, "This is not just a victory for Mbala, but a lesson to all who underestimate the strength of unity and courage." Django, humbled and impressed, honored the agreement and retreated with his forces. The victory cemented Amara's legacy as a leader who could outthink and outfight even the most formidable foes. Amara's story became legend, passed down through generations as a beacon of hope and inspiration. Songs were composed in her honor, and her name was etched into the annals of history. Her legacy was not just in her victories, but in the way she reshaped her world, proving that true strength comes from within. Even as she grew older, Amara continued to serve her people, mentoring the next generation of leaders. She often said, "A warrior's greatest weapon is not the sword, but the heart that wields it." Her wisdom and compassion ensured that Mbala remained a place where dreams could flourish and traditions could evolve. Amara's influence extended far beyond her lifetime. Her story became a powerful reminder of the importance of courage, unity, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Villages across the region began to honor women as leaders and warriors, inspired by Amara's legacy. She had sparked a movement, one that would reshape her world for generations to come. As years turned into decades, the story of Amara spread beyond the borders of Mbala, carried by merchants, travelers, and storytellers. People across the continent began to embrace the lessons her life had taught. Women in other villages started training as warriors, drawing inspiration from Amara's defiance of traditional roles. The ripple effect of her actions created a wave of change, challenging deeply ingrained gender norms. Amara's influence reached the ears of a distant king who ruled over a vast and powerful empire. Intrigued by the tales of the warrior woman, he sent an emissary to invite her to his court. Amara, ever humble but eager to share her wisdom, accepted the invitation. At the royal court, she impressed the king and his advisors with her strategic mind and stories of her victories. The king sought her counsel in matters of defense and governance, and her ideas brought about significant reforms that strengthened the kingdom. Meanwhile, back in Mbala, Amara's teachings continued to bear fruit. The young girls she had mentored grew into formidable leaders, taking up roles in the village council and military. The village elder, who had once doubted Amara's capabilities, became one of her staunchest supporters. He often spoke of how she had not only defended Mbala, but also enriched its soul. Amara's journey was not just one of external triumphs, it was also a deeply personal one. Over the years, she reconciled with her father, who had initially disapproved of her ambitions. Seeing her success and the respect she had garnered, he acknowledged his own biases and became her greatest advocate. Their bond grew stronger, and he became a source of wisdom and strength for her. Amara also found love in an unexpected place. Among the warriors who had once trained under her guidance was a man named Tunda, whose respect for her grew into admiration and eventually love. Tunda was not intimidated by Amara's strength. Instead, he found it inspiring. Their partnership was one of equals, built on mutual respect and shared ideals. Together, they raised a family that carried forward Amara's legacy of courage and integrity. The final chapter. As Amara approached the twilight of her life, she reflected on the journey that had brought her from a determined young girl to a legendary figure. She often walked through the forest that had been her sanctuary in her youth, finding solace in the rustling leaves and the whispers of the wind. The spirits of her ancestors who had once guided her seemed to smile upon her,